Hey, what's up, everybody? Dirty coming at you here with
DZAN. How's it going, everybody? It is Wednesday, May 19th, 2021. We have a lot of things to cover. UFC 262 happened last weekend. We're getting ready for Cody v. Garbrandt tomorrow. By the time you guys see this, we got a lot of shit to get into. I think it's only right.
It is currently Wednesday right now, guys.
That is right.
But that's how these things go sometimes. So,
how you doing, Dirty?
I forgot all about the Cody Garbrandt until yesterday, I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, holy shit. All right. So
Cody's back.
Getting real here. Yeah. Okay, well, it was an interesting week. Yeah. I'll let you go ahead and start talking.
You want me to set up my own ass kicking? Here we go, guys.
Hey, let me just say this. I did point out how easy the last two fights were to pick. And if you remember, I said, I'm not sure what you're seeing here because these two here seem to be very, very easy picks. But I think you leaned on your love and your heart and admiration for Mr. Ferguson, and
I did.
That happens.
Well, guys, let's get into it. UFC 262 wrap up.
Let's do that.
I went 1-4 in my picks. Dirty.
What did I do?
4-1. 4-1.
So I made a tremendous amount of money. I sit here and talk all this shit, but I never put my own money up. So I guess it's all for naught. If you put money on it, I would have made you a fortune.
Yeah. If you guys just would have listened, I lost about $26 on DraftKings.
Nice.
But I always bet the opposite side, so I gained about $6 on the opposite.
I hedge your bet.
Always. Yep.
Yeah.
First fight, fight of the night. Everybody kind of thought that was going to be happening. Barbosa, man, what a good fucking fight that was, and what a delayed reaction to that KO.
What was that?
Weird.
That was so weird.
His brain finally caught up with his body and said, "No, fool, we need to sit the fuck down."
Yeah.
Like, no, you're done. And he went to sleep before Edson even landed the last couple shots. He was out.
Well, and Edson even was like,
he was taken back.
What is going on here?
Yeah, man. You would think by the way he was stumbling back, it looked like he got hit with a liver shot. By the way he was stumbling back, right?
Right.
It was just his equilibrium. He was just losing everything. He was losing touch with it.
Well, and it was quite scary to watch. There were a couple scary moments in those fights.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was kind of scary to watch. You just never know when you see something like that exactly what's happening to somebody's brain, you know? So yeah, pretty wild stuff.
Glad to see he got up. He's okay after that. Well, it seems okay after that. So, next fight, Chukagian Araujo. Arguably, I'm sorry. I don't know what the fuck the judges were seeing in round 2 to give that to Chukagian.
I'm so glad you brought that up. DZAN and I exchange notes before we start these things, usually during the week. And he brought up in the comments to me that he wanted to talk about the judges and the 10-8 rounds and all that stuff. I am with you on that, brother. I don't know where some of these 10-8 rounds are coming from. What was the fight? I picked it right and you got it wrong. It was a couple weeks ago. Oh, matter of fact, it might have been 261. There was a fight where somebody was getting 10-8 rounds just handed to them.
Pretty much, I felt like the whole card. There was two fights or something like that where two fighters got 10-8 rounds in there.
I wish I could remember what the hell that fight was though, because it was egregious.
Wasn't the Watterson Rodriguez Reyes Prohaja card?
It doesn't matter. But
doesn't matter.
The reality is that some of these judges, Sal D'Amato, he's been around a long time. I've always appreciated his judging. He's the one guy that kind of gets it. The rest of them, I don't know, man. I don't know where they're getting these guys. First of all, I think they should have ex-fighters doing these things.
Yeah, they
got
should.
So many of these ex-fighters out of work.
But not like Cecil's Peoples, like that. They're jokes. Those like some of them are jokes. And when you get a lot of these boxing judges, I think that we're enough into the MMA game, and that we can start having more and more legitimate MMA judges.
Years. I mean,
come on, I think we're at that time that we can not only do that, but start kind of changing the way they're judging these fights.
Mm-hmm.
Just listening to the Anakin and Florian podcast this week on Monday, they were talking about the judges a little bit and how they went over the verbiage. And that's the first time I've ever heard the actual verbiage for what they consider a 10-9 and a 10-8 round. And they give them so much leeway for a 10-8 round. It's ridiculous. They almost feel like they have to at some point, for that. Because before it's like you had to dominate all 5 rounds. To give, and
well, I mean, the reality is that a 10-8 round should look like this. It usually has a lot to do with the ground game, because generally speaking, if there's a 10-8 round striking wise, somebody went to sleep, right? So generally speaking, it's a grappling match when it's a 10-8 round. And essentially what you want to see in a 10-8 round is the other person could do very little to nothing in the entire round.
Mm-hmm.
That the other person was so suffocating that the person receiving the 8 just simply didn't have a single answer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's generally where a 10-8 round should come from. We're not seeing that. We're not seeing that at all. The extra point, if you will, is coming from striking, all kinds of different ways. And that's not to say that you can't get a 10-8 round from striking. You can. It's just generally speaking, if there's a 10-8 round via striking, there probably should be a knockout.
Right.
So at the end of the day, the 10-8 doesn't really matter in a when you're referring to striking. Do you understand what I'm driving at here?
Yeah. Yep. And I feel like constantly these judges, they do not respect floor advancement. They see that as being defensive, and you don't get points for being defensive.
Mm-hmm.
You get points for being offensive. If you have to be defensive, then you're on the back foot. You don't get points for that. So they see those kind of submission advances, rolls and things like that. They see those as defensive movements instead of it being offensive advancements or opportunity makers to give yourself, a way to advance, offensively. They don't see that. They constantly disrespect the ground game because they don't have a full understanding of it.
Exactly.
All they have to do is watch the sport like us for as long as we have.
It's just a lack of knowledge,
It really is.
Yeah. And, there are a lot of fans, especially in MMA, that truly do have a terrific understanding of the game. And I think that has a lot to do with the lack of information that was around for so many years that you had to go digging yourself. USA Today, the New York Times, the Washington Post, LA Times, they didn't cover MMA. So it was up to us to go find out the information.
Yeah.
But when you do that, it's just like reading a book. You're going to be much more knowledgeable about it because you did the work yourself to put into it. And up until even as much as 5 or 6 years ago, there was no information out there, so you had to be a self-starter and get your nose in there and figure it out. So even if you've never had a cage fight, you don't need to have an understanding of what it is that they're doing.
exactly what goes on in there.
So I
and
think
what they're trying to do.
yes, I think that at the end of the day, I think the best solution is to either have ex-fighters become judges or make the training much more rigorous, a lot more testing, and not just testing to get licensed, testing throughout your license holding period of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's no different than somebody that is, has a driver's license every 4 years, in some states, 6 years, 2 years, depending on what state you're in. You have to go and re-up your license. Probably should have to at least take a written examination for it, but we don't.
You bring up a really good fucking point. How much has this sport already evolved in the short period of time? In the last 5 years, calf kicks are now one of the biggest advancements in how you can win a fight.
Who knew what the hell a pineal nerve was before this?
Exactly. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They should have to renew some kind of license for them to continue judging in this sport. They are fucking with people's careers, their lives, their money. They are fucking with the food that is on their family's table. At the end of the day, they need to be held accountable, and they are not being held accountable at all. So are the refs. A lot of the refs are not held accountable. They are being protected behind this, you know what I mean? This commission. That's what it is. They're being protected by each state's commission, and it's wrong. They need to be held accountable because they're the ones making the decisions at the end of the day. If we don't get a knockout or a submission, you got to hope and pray that the judges know what the fuck they are looking at.
You would hope so. You would hope so.
So next fight, Nhl Bontorin, the only one I got right. What's up? Woo woo.
Okay, little behind the scenes stuff here for you guys. I got to keep it real. Before we picked the fights last week, I wasn't sure who Bontorin was, and I leaned on his pick to get that one. So
you're welcome.
Full credit.
You're welcome.
You're welcome me. Yeah, I'm going easy on you.
I know we haven't gotten into the co-main event yet.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm enjoying the funk out of this.
Look, and to be honest, this wasn't that big of a barn burner either. No, both of these guys are from the 125, and you could tell that they were not comfortable in the 135 division, both of them. But I mean, it was a good fight. I'm
gonna keep it real with you. Anything below the 145ers, I could do without, quite frankly. And Sugar Sean O'Malley's there, and Cody Garbrandt, and Snake in the Grass, and all of these, legendary fighters, and that's cool and everything, but it just doesn't get my juices flowing, because until you start hitting the 145 and the 155 weight class, there's not a lot of heavy hitters, and right. I like the heavy hitters. So, and
isn't that crazy that the 135 used to be the most popular division?
Yeah.
Back when the California Kid was causing a stirrup, 135 was where it's at. That's what people wanted to see. They liked them because they were fast and they could last.
Well, and hard hitting. 155 was barely hanging on. It was hanging on by a thread because the welterweight division was dominating. The 135 and 145 weight divisions were dominating.
Yeah,
heavyweight,
145.
Yeah, heavyweight and light heavyweight. Those are always going to be,
they're always going to be up there. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but yeah. I agree with you. Yeah.
All right. Co-main event, Dariush Ferguson, and then the main event, Oliveira. All right. So next we're going to move on. We're going to skip the rest of this. I think we're good, right? We can move on to.
Yeah. No.
Why don't you take this one away? I'll sit back with a smile on.
Well, okay. Listen, I said it last week and I'll say it again. Tony Ferguson has not changed anything. And this is what my concern was last week. First of all, and let's give full credit to Beneil Dariush. the dude is the real deal. And I've known about that. I think we've all known about that for a little while now. But Tony Ferguson, how many times have we seen this movie where there's just a new class of people that come in that take everything to the next level? It's the very reason why Chemo and Ken Shamrock and all of these guys would never survive 3 seconds in a UFC fight today.
Right.
Because everything has just evolved to such a tremendous degree. It would be like, I think I even said this last week, if I'm not mistaken. It'd be like putting Jim Brown out there.
Yeah, you did.
At running back. He just wouldn't be near as effective. Not to say, and I'm talking about while he was in his prime even, but it's not to say that he wouldn't be effective because he has Jim Brown, but he wouldn't be as effective because the game has passed him by. And that's just the reality of everything. Science gets involved, nutrition, and all of these things start adding up and stacking up, and to the point to where you've created a monster. And back then, all you had to do was be a decent striker, or Royce Gracie, or any of the Gracies really, but Royce Gracie, he was next level, but even today, he would still have been tremendous on the ground, but he would have gotten knocked out before then, I think.
Right.
And that's where I feel Tony Ferguson has gotten. I think he is what he is, and it's never going to get better for him. And then one other thing I want to point out. Did you see how thin he was? He was so sucked in, which tells me either A, the weight cut didn't go that great, or it was a matter of overtraining, and either one is not good.
I think it's the latter, because he looked,
knowing Tony,
he almost looked like that. He almost looked like that in the last fight as well.
Yeah, I think a little bit more sucked in this time, though.
Yeah.
And so, when you take all of these factors and then you want to couple it, all of that with Dariush being on the run that he's on, that was, for me personally, and I'm not messing around with you here, that was just an easy pick for me to make.
Yeah, it was a really fun conversation with my brother, because he's a filthy casual.
Yeah,
and we were watching it, and I was telling him, man, this guy's going to be a champion. He's like, what? He's like, no, people keep hating on Ferguson. He's going to run through this fucking guy. This guy's nobody, blah, blah. And I said, brother, I'm telling you, he's going to be a champion in like 2 years. You just give him a little time. This guy's a future champ. If Ferguson loses, it's because of the guy, of how good the other guy was, and not because of how bad Ferguson is now.
Right.
And he said,
there's
okay,
a lot to that.
So you have Benil. And I said, no, I have Ferguson. And that's kind of when I knew, fuck, damn it.
Well, also I remember that you made the comment that you were actually going with Benil Dariush until you saw the press conference.
Yeah,
that's a sucker's bet.
And then I wasn't ready. But you know what? I did the same thing with Whaley, with the Whaley and Rose fight, and it fucking worked out for me there. I had a hunch, Dirty, and I felt it. And I'm still not ready to give up on Ferguson.
Hang on a second. Let's stop this nonsense before it begins. Listen, everybody, you see what he's doing, right?
I'm not ready.
He wants to go back 2 weeks and talk about that again, because he doesn't want to face up to what happened this week. That's history. That's old news. It's over, man.
You're smart.
I buried you.
You did.
Okay.
Can we?
We'll allow you to do the main event here, please.
You want me to do the main? Sure.
I would appreciate that. Yes.
Okay, great. Let me do the main event. Charles Oliveira should have been called in the first round, a knockout for Chandler. First and foremost, Okay, no,
Glory.
okay. That was just for dirty. I just wanted to see his face. But here
It was
we
close,
go again
though.
with the
It was
judges
close.
10-8. What in the fuck? And this
Yeah.
is what I mean by they do not respect the floor advancements. Charles had him, attempting a submission. He had his back for the better part of 2 minutes in that first round. You cannot say that's a 10-8. You cannot. That is not.
No way.
There's no way.
There's
Was
no
Chandler
way that
putting
was a
it on
10-8
him?
round.
Yes. Did Chandler win that? Absolutely, he won that round. But it's not a fucking 10-8.
He won that round 100%. But
they got to stop doing this, man. They got to stop doing this.
The criteria for the 10-8 rounds has got to be more regimented. It's
Right.
got to be stiffer. Maybe they should create a tick box. Okay, did he do this? Right. Okay, now he gets a 10-8. Something. There's got to be something. Somehow they have to be held accountable, or at least a little bit more accountable.
I think their issue is that
now what I don't want to have happen though is for fighters to be able to start blaming the ref. That is dangerous ground there. But at the same time, there has to be more accountability.
Yeah. When they have a tier of like, they judge for, control time, then this, then this, then this, and then this, that gives that preconceived notion of this number 5 is not important as number 2. So I'm not really going to count that or really look at that. That doesn't seem right with me. They should be looking at it as a fight. And I don't think, and a lot of people say they should adopt how One Championship does it, where One Champion judges the entire fight as a 15-minute whole. They don't judge it by rounds.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's right either.
I don't like that idea at all.
I don't think that's right either. I think it should be by rounds, but we need more educated people in there, and they need to get the fuck with this tier list of this, and this. No, you should just already know what to look for, and you should be able to see who is being more defensive, who's being more offensive, and what they're giving to the fight. It's not right.
As you know, DZAN, I played hockey for a number of years. And I spoke to some of the refs, got to know me. And I was speaking to one. This is after a game, and I was upset about a call that he hadn't made. So I approached him, very respectfully. But I approached him, and we were talking. And so finally, it got to the point to where he made a comment to me that just stuck with me forever. He said, my job is to, at the end of the game, make you not remember that I was there, while still keeping the game flowing, but not let anything get out of control. If I've done those 3 things, then I've done my job. And that really stuck with me. So basically what he was saying, he didn't want to be part of the equation. And I think that maybe he should be talking to some of these judges, and get them to understand that they should not be part of the equation.
Right.
They should be silent, out of the way, in the shadows, and just judge what happened. Not what you think happened, or you expected to happen, or you hoped would happen. Because I think there's some of that too.
Yep.
As much as we like Conor McGregor, I feel.
I said, watch out now.
Well, I just feel that, some of that, some of the fights that I've watched, it seems that maybe he was the benefit of a fan. Versus, looking back on the round. Now, before anybody says anything, I'm going to stop you right there.
Please, because I'm
not referring to Nate Diaz too.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
Please
well, then
do not jump on that bandwagon, because I'll slap you right back down. You guys, that fight was very clearly won by Conor McGregor. So let's not start that.
Okay.
If anybody out there wants to make that argument, you are speaking to deaf people because I don't want to hear it. That anybody that thought Nate Diaz won that fight needs to have their head checked.
Yep.
So you're just a fanboy, and I'm a fanboy of Nate Diaz, but there's no way. There's no way. So I'm not saying that. I think you understand what it is that I am saying, though. Do your job, but stay out of the way. We shouldn't know who you are.
Right. Agreed. Totally agreed. And that, I mean, so after that first round, we had a near stoppage, right? And Charles did a great fucking job at moving his head, finding his balance again.
That was incredible.
And just getting into that defensive posture, and Chandler made some mistakes. He should have thought a little bit better. I think he should have stood up. I think he should have stood him up and not go into his closed guard to try and finish it. I think having Charles back up on his feet wobbly would have been a lot better than having Charles defending off his back, because we all know how he is off his back. So I think a couple of technical mistakes by Chandler cost him the fight in the first round, but that does not diminish Charles' performance in the second round.
No.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That left hook, oh my God.
Well,
beautiful job.
Do you remember last week how surprised I was that you picked Ferguson? Do you remember that? Yes. I was shocked.
Yeah. Or Chandler, you mean, right? Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, Chandler. Yeah.
But yes,
I was stunned that you picked him, and not because the fact that I knew that Charles Oliveira was going to win. It was by your comments about Charles Oliveira in the past, as well as your comments about Michael Chandler in the past.
Look,
we talked about this last week.
Dirty. Huh? I jumped on a train I should not have been on.
Yeah.
And that was my fault.
Right.
That was my fault, because you're absolutely right.
I bring it up for a reason, though. So hang on one second, you guys. I'm really sorry to stop it right here, but hang on one second. I'll be right back. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I had to answer the door, but so at any rate, where was I here, DZAN?
We were talking Michael Chandler, Charles Oliveira.
I was shocked by your pick because, and if you remember, I said also last week that I had gone back and watched some Michael Chandler fights when he fought in Bellator.
Right.
What you just mentioned about the mistakes he made were the exact same mistakes that he made in Bellator. And that's why I have yet to be sold on him.
Got you.
He's a great fighter. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you know, how many times have we seen this? A guy shoots straight up to number 5. Yeah. And then all of a sudden that stiffer competition starts exposing your personal weakness where it had never been found out before. And again, and I'll do this a lot, you guys, and forgive me, but it's what I know. It is a lot like hockey in that sense. You see so many guys, they play in juniors in Canada, the Quebec League, or ECHL or the AHL, and all of a sudden they get to the NHL and they've been putting up, a point a game in the ECHL and almost a point a game in AHL, and you're like, man, get this guy to the NHL, and then all of a sudden he's sitting on the bench. And then he gets put on waivers and sent back down to the AHL. And you're like, what happened to this guy? Well, he wasn't ready.
Right.
And they pushed him in there too quickly. That's not the case here with Chandler, I don't believe, because, he's up there and he's been around. He's been around long enough. But you do see that a lot of times. But in this particular situation, I did see a lot of the same mistakes, especially on the ground. That he made in Bellator that he repeated against Oliveira. So anyway, that's the point I was trying to make there.
What nobody, I don't think, besides Charles, saw a knockout. Oh, Charles told everybody, I'm going to knock him out. And what? Yeah. And who would have thought that one of those technical weaknesses was on the feet? Wow. I'm not only
And
in
that was a hell
awe,
of a hit, man.
one hell of a hit, and Chandler, and I want to give so much credit to Chandler for one, when he got hit, what is the wrestler's thing that they always do? Shoot. I'm gonna shoot because I'm hurt. He didn't shoot. He tried to get to safety. He tried like hell. Did not work. He tried to circle out. Did
He's
not
running
work.
laps.
Yeah, he tried, and it didn't work out for him. But credit to him for not doing the wrestler shoot. Oh, you're a wrestler now. Shoot, you know.
Oh, you're a wrestler now.
Yeah. So and credit to Chandler for his and I said
By
this
the way,
last
everybody,
week.
that was my Nate Diaz invitation.
And I said this last week. Chandler, his wrestling is not a dominant wrestling. It's an anti-jiu-jitsu wrestling. And that's exactly what we saw. He was not going to be a victim of that rear naked choke. And he did great with the wrist control like I thought he would. I just wish he would have stood up with him instead of staying in that guard. He would have done a lot better standing him back up in the first round.
Okay.
But all right.
This is hang on. This is an impromptu thing here off the cuff. This was not planned at all, but I'm going to ask the question. Would you rather?
Okay.
Would you rather get choked out or would you rather get knocked out?
Choked. 1,000%.
Right on.
Choke me. Put me to sleep, baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
It hurts a hell of a lot less too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you know what? When I wake up, I'll be all right. I don't need to go get MRI. Yeah. Put me to sleep.
Right. Yeah. Don't worry
And
about
you know
me,
what?
Dana.
And that's what Habib was thinking in his head with Gagey. You know what? He won't tap. I don't want to break his arm in front of his family. Look, they're right there.
Yeah.
Oh, let me just put him to sleep.
Yeah. What a nice guy.
All right. Well, that's it for 262. Horrible for DZAN. Great for Dirty, I would say. And we talked about the bad judging that's just really hurting this sport. And I think we can move on to the new era of the lightweight division. If we pull up the top 10 right now, and I got it right in front of me. We got a lot of changes and a lot of great movements. DC cannot keep this man's name out of his fucking mouth. Islam Makhachev is number 10. Paul Felder is number 9. Dan Hooker, number 8. RDA is number 7. Ferguson dropped down to 6. Connor is now number 5. Chandler stays at 4. Benil moving all the way up from 9 to 3. Gagey 2.
Rightfully so, though.
Poirier 1. So
I'll be honest with you. Quite frankly, Beneil Dariush should have never been ranked 9th.
Yeah.
Paul Felder has zero business being ranked at all. Listen, I know that there are a lot of people out there that love Paul Felder.
I love Paul Felder.
Yeah, well, I'm not one of them.
Irish Dragon, how dare you?
Yeah, he's German, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
But honestly, that guy gets on my nerves, man. He does. He gets on my last nerve. And quite frankly, I've never, ever once been impressed with his skills unless you call taking a punch to the face a skill. I don't know what the fascination is with him. I just can't wrap my head around it. He's not good.
Well, it's the same reason we like Clay Guida. He just fights. They just fight.
But Clay Guida's entertaining.
Paul Felder is entertaining.
Is
Dirty.
he?
Paul Felder is entertaining.
Point a fight to me. Point a fight to me that
Paul
was
Felder,
entertaining.
Dan Hooker. Are you kidding me?
Again, show me a skill that means anything other than getting punched in the face. Did you see his face after that fight?
Yes, I saw his
face after that. It looked like he had the plague.
All right, you know what? We're not
if you would have taken a pin and popped his skin, his whole head would have popped off. He almost looked like Joanna Jędrzejczyk after she fought Zhang Weili.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
Good
once
Lord.
He pops into the top 5, you're not going to be saying that shit. I'm kidding, Dirty. I'm kidding.
Words. He'll never hit the top 10 again after he gets bounced out of this one.
Tony Ferguson, Paul Felder, book it right now.
Let's do that. Finally, we'll get Ferguson a win. Hey, but before we move on, though, in all seriousness, I'm just joking about the Paul Felder guys. Chill. But on a serious level, Tony Ferguson, I said this last week before this fight, should retire. Now, to a man, I don't like the idea that everybody is coming out and telling him to retire. Meanwhile, here I am doing it myself, but it's a little different because the people that are telling him to retire are people in the business. You've got your Michael Bispings and your Dana Whites and your DCs, and they're all telling him to retire, man. And if somebody wants to retire, let them retire on their own. Okay. People like us, we have no influence on anybody. So it's kind of fine for us to talk about it. But personally, I think at this point, it's just getting sad. Yeah. When he fought Justin Gaethje, I was literally getting sick to my stomach watching him wobble because his head was not there. Yeah. And it was grossing me out, man. And I think part of the reason I was getting grossed out is because of the fact that I'm a big fan of Tony Ferguson. That I want to see him like that. Yeah. So,
I mean, it's the same thing that we see with Cowboy. Same thing we saw with Tyron Woodley. These once really great fighters that get on one hell of a run, run into a new class, a new breed, and they realize that they just aren't there anymore.
The game has passed them by.
Yeah, Longo brought up a good point this week, and he said something about Ferguson. He said that he thinks that Ferguson is still the same Ferguson, but you're seeing these guys now that are at a different level than Ferguson.
Isn't that what I said?
Yeah, Ferguson can evolve.
That's exactly what it was I was trying to say earlier.
Yeah. He said Ferguson used to be able to do an Imanari role and get out of this and just that. And these guys, they got him now. This new class, they got him now.
Well, so he hasn't pulled off a Darce choke in forever.
He tried like hell.
Yeah.
He tried like hell this weekend. He tried like hell this weekend.
He's actually tried in several fights.
And I gotta say, on that exact point, he was on the opposite side and he still tried to secure it. And you could get, an inverted if you're using your chest well enough. I just found it weird that he didn't try to transition to the correct side. There was just a lot of weird things in that fight too. In particular, it's just weird.
I think he needs some, if he's going to continue, which I hope he doesn't, but if he does, he's got to change his corner. He's got to change his training partners. He's got to do something different. And again, this goes back to what I was saying last week. And as a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I said the statement, repeating the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. A definition of insanity. That's what Tony is doing.
I think he's only been with Freddie Roach for like 6 months. I think
Roach, so but I mean,
you're not going to see change in that small amount of time.
Well,
you're going to see small changes in about a year or so, unless you're.
But listen, let's keep it real here. Do you think Tony Ferguson is listening to anybody? I mean,
no, God, no.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I would just personally like to see him retire. And that's just, I'm not giving out advice to a man. He do what you got to do, man. I'm saying as a fan, I hope he retires because I don't want to see him going out like this, man. It's already bad enough. Let's end the bleeding and get out of the game, man.
On the light side of things, it's going to be nice to see Charles in some new fights. Got a lot, like we just talked about. We just went down the top 10. There's so 100%. Many great fights. The winner versus Conor and Poirier, I think we can say is probably the number one contender. That's going to be the title
signed. Yeah. I mean, that's going to happen.
I was more kind of weirded out that Dana didn't confirm that during the press conference when somebody asked him.
Because it's Conor.
Right.
That's why. That's the only reason why. No, it's let's come on, man. Let's keep it real here. Dana is. I don't want to sound like a Conor hater here, but Dana has always taken care of Conor. And even when they were on the outs, he was still kind of protecting him. I gotta say that if Conor wants something different than Oliveira, he'll get it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the only reason, because what other fight are you going to offer Oliveira?
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's
nothing.
Who else are you going to do?
Yeah.
Besides maybe Gaethje.
But Gaethje's a level below fighting. Though. That's what I'm saying. So, if Conor beats Poirier,
that's the fight.
Make no mistake about it. Conor is not going to be ranked number 5 anymore.
No, he'll be number 1. He'll be number 1.
He'll probably be number 1, and
he'll be number 1 because he beat number 1. That's because Dustin's number 1 right now. So, So with a smile, you're going to say, "That's right, DZAN. He will be number 1."
That's right, DZAN. He will be number 1.
All right. And we're just going to clip that and move on.
Okay.
We do have UFC Vegas 27 coming up this weekend. Okay. If you want to take a quick look at the main card, as you guys know, we do not do our picks here on the podcast for the fight nights. Those will be on our Instagram and Twitters. Follow
Dirty
us
and DZAN. Dirty and DZAN. Twitter, Instagram. Check us out. Polls and some other fun facts over there too.
So we got one week removed. We got our Jack Hermanson, Edmund Shabazian fight to, I think they're either going to be the premier fight on the prelims or the first fight in the main card. Nevertheless, they will be part of our picks. So we always do the 6 fights for the fight nights. So Jack Hermanson, Edmund Shabazian. We got David Dvorak and Ravulian Pavia. Don't know who those two are, so I have to do some research on those guys. We got Felicia Spencer coming back against Norma Dumont, which Norma Dumont I really liked. I really like. This is going to be a good fight for Felicia, and it'll be a great fight if Norma can pull it off.
Great showcase for Norma, but yes, Felicia has to win this, I think.
She has to. She does have to win this. Yeah. And I mean, and even though she's only 8-2 now, 2 significant losses. Mm-hmm. Justin Tafa coming against Jared Vandera. Justin, obviously the favorite in that fight. Love Justin. Yeah. Jan
Blachowicz?
No.
I'm like, they snuck that one in. I mean,
we're gonna say Jan Yeonan versus Carla Esparza.
Yeah. Okay. I
don't know if it's Yeonan or Wyonan, but also have to do some research on Jan because Carla's clearly a beast. So I got to do some research on Jan, as you can tell. Rob Font versus Cody Garbrandt in the main event. Going to be very fun. Cody No Love is back. One of my favorite fighters in the UFC. One of my all-time favorite fighters in the UFC. I fucking love Cody No Love.
Yeah. He's from Columbus, Ohio. I'm familiar with that town. Fun town. A lot of fun. Oh my God, what a town. But Cody has he been through the ringer over the past couple of years, man. I mean, between the TJ stuff and the training issues that he's had, and and then going to New Jersey and training out there, and then getting his thing back on track. And I mean, what a story. This has to be a book at some point.
Oh yeah.
Has to be a book at some point. So we got any more UFC stuff?
You know what? I think that is all I had, guys, for the UFC. So by the time this comes out on Friday, look forward to the picks coming up Saturday morning or Friday night, depending on. So Friday, we do always put those on. Yeah. So look for that. It's a kind of an early card, 2 p.m. early prelims, 5 p.m. Main card over here in Mountain Time, which is the only time that matters. That's it for the UFC and MMA news. Oh, wait, real quick.
Said nobody ever.
I think we should just mention this real quick, that Cyborg has another victim tonight on Friday as well. She's defending her title again.
Really? I didn't know that.
Bellator. Okay. So I'm actually going to be watching that. I'll watch that card.
So
we'll be talking about that next week. I believe so now. Yeah. Or no, Showtime. I think it's Showtime. I think. I don't know. They might be streaming on Paramount Network.
But I doubt that. If it's on Showtime, I doubt that.
And I don't know if it's a full event or if it's just one of their little fight things, because sometimes they stream them on YouTube. So I don't know, wherever we can find it, guys, tune in.
Well, I got hockey playoffs tonight, so
well, there we go.
Yeah. So we'll be right back, you guys.
Yep.
Oh, sorry about that, guys. Okay. Next up, we have music.
I think you want to talk about NHL.
Oh shit, that's right. I forgot about that.
Let's do it.
Just real quick, wanted to gloss over NHL playoffs started this week. As you know, I'm kind of somewhat pulling for Carolina Hurricanes, even though I am a Red Wings fan. What up, Detroit? Yeah, what up, Detroit? So
we need to have a little sting. We need to have a little sting, a little button that you can push, and then it'll just be like, "What up, Detroit?" Yeah.
So Carolina won game one. Yes, they won game one. What am I thinking? Okay. And they won game two. So wait a minute here. What am I thinking? No, I take that back. Game two is tonight. They won game one. But I'm thinking of Boston. Sorry, but I've been following Boston too. Boston is not doing well. And the Capitals look really good on them. They've and I say on them because that's exactly what they've been. They've been on them. Very physical game. I'll tell you another very physical series has been Tampa and Florida. Holy fuck. Game one, the first period of game one, bodies were literally flying. I haven't seen that kind of hitting in a couple of years in a playoff game. In playoff hockey, to me, there's nothing in the world more satisfying than playoff hockey. It's a different animal from the regular season altogether. A, because the refs let them get away with a lot more. And B, because everybody is just amped up for the playoffs. Yeah. So when you're amped up and you're playing a game that's as physical as hockey, it just makes for a tremendous recipe for violence.
Is it like basketball? Is it like a 7-game thing or what? Is that a 7? Oh, okay.
Exact same way. Yeah. But Carolina plays tonight. I'm hoping Peter Mrazek is in goal for them. Alex Nedeljkovic, as I stated a couple of weeks ago, he's a rookie. He's cheaper. He's probably going to be their goalie going forward. So I'm really hoping that Peter Mrazek can get some work in so he can shop himself around. He's a free agent at the end of the season.
Oh, okay.
So it's contract time for him. And he's going to be on the prowl, on the hunt, if you will, for a new contract with probably a good team that would suit him well. Right. It would have to be a team that's not necessarily in a rebuild stage. Somebody that needs a good quality goaltender for a playoff run, a situation like that. But after watching game one, Sebastian Aho, Warren Fogle had a hell of a game. Vincent Trocheck looked incredible. Even though he didn't score, he was just everywhere doing a lot of dirty work. Jordan Staal, though. Jordan Staal has been in the league, 15 years. He's the captain of Carolina right now. He's got two brothers that are in, so there are three Staal brothers playing in the NHL. One of them plays for Detroit. Mark Staal. Yep. He just has the ability. What you want in a good captain is a team a player is going to put the team on his back and just carry them forward. And Jordan Staal is the epitome of that. Very, very impressive hockey player. Plays the game the right way. And what I mean by that is he goes in the dirty areas, either in the corners or in front of the net. It's hard. That's a hard way to make a living, man. I played the game. I know it's the hardest way in the world to make a living is standing in front of a net. And it's set aside, 100-mile-an-hour pucks coming flying at you. You're getting cross-checked constantly in the back and in the ribs and the side and everything else. And there's padding there, but there are a lot of spots where there's not. And if they catch you in the right spot, man, you're hurting for certain. So anyway, Carolina looks fantastic. The Florida Tampa game series, that's 1-1 now. No, I take that back. No, Florida ended up losing the first game. I forgot about that. They should have won it. But so Tampa's up 2.
So it's up 2.
They're up 2, and the 2 that they won were in Florida. So
got you.
The Florida Panthers are in a lot of trouble right now. That means they're going to have to win 2 games in Tampa. So, yeah. Anyway, I think Toronto is going to make some headway. I'm not 100% sold just because Toronto has notoriously fallen flat in the playoffs. They always look good in the first round. Second round, they always seem to fall flat to me. So I think the Capitals, Colorado, potentially Vegas, even St. Louis could make a run. But I think your big time chances are going to come from Carolina, Colorado, and I think we could end up with a Carolina-Colorado Stanley Cup. I think that's a distinct possibility. So we got the NHL expansion draft coming. They've got a new team coming in next year, Seattle Kraken. That will be coming up here, I think, in a few weeks. And then you got the actual NHL draft. So there's 2 drafts happening. One where every other team is trying to protect players from losing them to Seattle because of the expansion draft. And then conversely, you have them, starting the regular draft to go out there and try to find players. So that's always an exciting time. One last bit of information. Detroit Red Wings decided to retain the services of Jeff Blashill, the head coach.
You look disappointed.
Stevie Yzerman, who's their general manager, has been hitting grand slams left and right since he's taken over until yesterday when he gave a ringing endorsement of Jeff Blashill. Broke my heart. Dan Bilsma, longtime assistant in Detroit, moved on because I think he thought he was going to end up getting the head coaching spot this year, and he didn't get it. Stevie decided to retain Jeff Blashill, so Dan Bilsma moved on. So he's going to be going out there interviewing for head coaching jobs. So not only did we retain the services of Jeff Blashill, we lost Dan Bilsma, and I think that's going to hurt us. He was the special teams coach, but Dan has been he's one of the most revered assistant coaches in the NHL. So that's gonna sting a little bit for Detroit in the rebuild process. So anyway, that's all I got. And I think we're moving on to music now.
All right, let's get into some music, guys. We will be talking about the J. Cole off-season album, but before we get into that, because that I think is going to be taking up the chunk of the time, let's first get into the singles of the week. Tom MacDonald making some headlines. As you know, Tom MacDonald won the auction, $100,000 for the Eminem NFT with the Eminem produced beat. Well, Tom MacDonald went ahead and used that beat and made a song because that's how you market your fucking self. And that's what you do.
Right on.
And that's how he was able to make a song called Dear Slim. And in the title, it says produced by Eminem, and it ain't a lie. So really great fucking angle from Tom. And what a great song. I got to say a lot of stans, and not me included, are boycotting Tom and anything he does because of the political aspect. We need to get all that shit out of music. Get that shit the fuck out of music. It does not have a place here. This is a place for us to express ourselves. Yes, 100%. But we don't need that shit in here, and I think Tom was saying it in a really good way. Like, hey, you and I are on opposite sides politically, but I am everything you are besides that. you know, and I thought it was a great song. I thought it was really strong lyrics, really great hooks. It was such an Eminem hook. You could tell that he really did this to kind of make him happy, make him proud maybe of him a little bit. He redid Stan's bedroom. He just did such a great job visually with the music video and with the song. I am for one happy about it. I thought it was a great track, and he did the right thing by making a song with that, like everybody knew he was going to do. That's what you should have done. And it's
I just want to add one quick thing on the whole politics and stuff and all that. I am a libertarian, okay, and DZAN knows this, but I'm a libertarian. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a libertarian that's affiliated with the Libertarian Party. I'm a libertarian at heart. Because I don't like politics.
Yeah.
I don't want us to ever be, and it's too late. We're there. But I never ever hoped that we would ever become what we've become when it comes to politics, where if you're a Republican and a known Democrat comes up to talk to you and try to converse with you and communicate their ideas, that you have this idea about your beliefs that somehow they're superior to that person's, so you don't need to hear what they have to say. And conversely, the other way around.
Right.
That's why we are where we are. That's the sole reason why we are as a country where we're at, where there's so much division. Politics is never the answer. Love is the answer. Understanding is the answer.
Yeah.
A lack of arrogance that you are so convinced that you're right is not the answer. Everybody has good ideas. We all have good ideas. So why, because we wear a red coat or we wear a blue coat, should we be shut up?
Right.
And music is the absolute last place that belongs.
Right.
But here we are. And now, like you say, the stands are boycotting it because of politics.
Yeah.
That is so fucked up.
Yeah, and I want to say to it, and it really started where, and Eminem has said this before too, where he almost wishes for several reasons why during the BET, if, just so you guys know what I'm referring to, the BET freestyle, wherein the entire freestyle, he was just going in on Donald Trump. And he said he's setting the line. You know what I mean? If you're a fan of mine, here's the line, kind of thing. And it divided a lot of it to a lot of the regular listeners who just listen to hip hop and who feel republicly, you know, they're like, okay, I'm not fucking with him anymore. Anything he does is trash now. But then you look at it from a standpoint, somebody that has followed this man's career, right? A standpoint that has followed this man's career up until that point and is now at a crossroads where politically, what does he do? So then now they don't fuck with him at all. You know what I mean? It's just such a weird thing. And he said it too before, that he wish he wouldn't have said that in a way where it comes to the fans that really matter, but not so much as he doesn't regret saying it. He just regrets that it had the kind of fallout that it did with his core, you know, fan base. And so now you get these, some of these stands that are super Democratic, right, that are now boycotting anything that's Tom McDonald, because he's a Republican, you know, and he's an outspoken Republican, and he's a rapper, and he can't be an Eminem fan if he's Republican. That's not the fucking case. Get all of that out of here. You know what I mean?
Right.
You just be a fucking fan of the music. And politics in Eminem's music has never not been a thing. In his early shit, he was talking about Hillary Clinton slapping her face, feeding her sherbet, and Bill Clinton and
getting
Bill
his
Clinton
dick sucked in office.
and then mosh pit with Bush. I mean, politics have always been in his music.
Mhm.
It's just so polarizing now that they can't handle it, and that's okay too. If you can't handle it, don't listen to it.
Well, here
But
we are again.
Don't be forcing these views. You know what I mean?
Like we talked about last week about cancel culture.
Yeah.
This idea that we have to shut the other side up. That's the antithesis, the exact opposite of what we should be doing.
Yeah.
Again, if somebody wants to hang themselves, let them hang themselves.
Let them
man.
hang. Yeah. Yeah.
We need to see their true colors. How are you going to see somebody's true colors if they've got to pretend that they're not that?
Right.
You guys,
doesn't make sense.
You're not thinking here, man. You got to stop with this. You just stop with this. But, I don't have a problem with anybody going in on a particular politician.
Not at all.
If somebody's got a problem with Donald Trump and they want to call him out on that's metal,
Right. Yeah.
But going after a person because they are labeled a Republican,
right,
or labeled a Democrat, conversely,
or conservative views, that kind of
conservative,
thing. Right.
liberal, same thing.
Right.
By doing that, I don't agree with that at all. Yep. Because you're telling the world that you've got it figured out and that you're right and everybody else is wrong.
Exactly.
Nobody has all the answers. Nobody. Yep.
So that was that. Tom, Dear Slim, Tom McDonald, and then we had Hobson with a dope ass music video. Bella Ciao. He just released a song called Bella Ciao, and the L's are ones. I don't know if that is any kind of significance. I didn't see anything like that, but he's doing such a good job with these videos, and this looked like it could be a new TikTok dance thing. He was doing choreography with when he was rapping, doing choreography with it that looked like it could take off and be a kind of a viral thing.
Right on.
Hobson knows what he's doing, and what a good fucking song Bella Ciao was. Okay. So that is also,
he knows what he's doing. That's for sure. He's got 1,000%. The videos mastered, man. Yep. I love what he does in his videos, man.
I love his videos, man. I love his videos.
Yeah. I've become such a big fan of Hobson over the past just several months.
I'm sorry, what?
Hopspin.
Yeah.
Hopspin. It's a Patreon thing, guys.
The last single of the week, 21 Pilots released their last single by the time you guys see this on Friday, it would be out. Scaled and Icy album is coming out this Friday, but they released their last single called Saturday, and it's a vibe, man. It is a vibe. I'm digging it. I think I'm spot on with my theories, and only time will tell. I'm very excited for this live experience that's going to be happening on Friday, along with the album. So I'm going to be listening to that. Couple of albums that kind of dropped. I mean, Nicki Minaj dropped an album. I have not heard much from it, but I will be listening to that this week. So I'll give you guys my thoughts on that next week. Too many tracks.
Too many tracks.
He doesn't like 23 tracks in an album. I fucking love 23 tracks in an album.
Can't stand it. Ear fatigue, man.
Tech-9 KOD is one of my favorite albums ever for that reason. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Give me all the tracks.
When I say that, what I mean is for a first time listen, because understand from my point of view, guys, that if I'm doing a reaction video to a full length, it gets very taxing after a certain amount of time. and what I found is right around the 55-minute to an hour mark is about where I start getting taxed. And
Yeah.
then here's what ends up happening, and this has happened a couple of times, where the rest of the album, I'm just like, oh my God, I just wish this
You
was
start
over.
shitting on it.
Exactly. So then I start shitting on the whole thing, all because of the length of the album. And there's been a couple of times where from that 55-minute mark on, where there was actually some good songs in there, but the first time I listened to it, I didn't think so, because I wasn't in the right frame of mind anymore. So to me, that's a big deal. My patrons have kind of learned that now, not to send me the deluxe version.
Oh God.
Don't send me the deluxe version. I'm going to shit on your album. It's just that simple. So don't do it, or you're asking for trouble. But seriously, there does get a point of ear fatigue for me. So
The
but
last
I
thing...
did one quick thing I did completely forget about mentioning is, and this is not really new. This is from the metal side of things. This is not really new, but Phil Anselmo, who is the lead singer for Pantera, or was the lead singer for Pantera, but he has all kinds of side projects. One of my favorite, or actually my favorite side project of his, is where he's working with Pepper Keenan in a band called DZAN. I love DZAN's music. It's kind of like Pantera meets some sort of sludgy band like Corrosion of Conformity or I Hate God or something like that. But I Hate God. Yeah.
That's a band.
Yeah. But it's spelled I, like EYE. I Hate God.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, he's got this band called N Minor.
Okay.
And it's wild. It is absolutely wild. I happened to watch a live a concert. It wasn't live. I was watching a recorded version of a concert, but it's like this ambient jazz, classical, metal thing. There's not much metal in it really, but because Phil is there, I think it kind of gives that metal vibe. But it's a really experimental type sound. And I got to tell you, man, I was blown away. I enjoyed the fuck out of that. So if you're interested in something really weird, you guys, check out a band. It's N minor. Yeah, there it is right there.
We're gonna go ahead and add that right now. Check that out.
Very
Sounds
ambient.
interesting.
It's dark, extremely dark. But when you listen to it, it really evokes a lot of emotion. And it blew my wig back. It really did. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I didn't have any metal news. And I
you're good.
That, so I wanted to swoop.
I always love when you come through with some projects that I could listen to and kind of dig my teeth into as well to kind of check out your side of things. So I'm excited for that. I'll check that out. The last thing that I wanted to bring up before we moved into J. Cole's album is the epic fucking music video that Joyner Lucas released. Did you see this, Dirty?
No.
I'm assuming no.
I heard all about it though.
Oh my God. It was so great. When I saw that I was about to click play,
believe me, my private message box blew up.
Oh, so. I'm sure. I wanted to click play right away when I saw it, but then I saw it was 8 minutes. And I was like, no, I need to pay attention. I'm gonna wait till I can sit down for this one. Right. It was so fucking good. You got Mark Wahlberg, you got George Lopez, you got Diddy at the end. And of course you got Joyner Lucas and his brilliance and how he puts together his stories with his music, and it's fucking fantastic. And
the first video I ever did of Joyner Lucas was I'm Not Racist, and I think I talked for like a half hour in that video.
Yeah, man, he does those with his visuals. He really does. He does movies with his videos. You did Ross Capicchione, right?
No.
it was the other really insane visual that he did. This was before he was really popular. It was a viral music video about
I don't
two
think so.
perspectives, a victim's perspective and an assailant's perspective.
Oh, wow.
It was really fucking good, and it was a true story. And it was so good, in fact, that the victim ended up messaging Joyner like, hey, do you know the guys that did this? Were you part of this? Like, how do you
Right.
know so much?
Right.
And Joyner had to tell him, like, no, I followed the news stories. I read everything up, and this was just kind of what I would feel their perspective would be like, you know, because he's like,
Right
how
on.
do you know all these things? And what was that really why that happened to me? Or, you know what I mean? And it was a
Sure.
kind of thing. And Joyner flew him out and fucking partied
No
it up with
shit.
him for a weekend and sent him home happy.
Oh,
That's just
wow.
what fucking Joyner does, man.
Yeah.
But that's he does these legendary visuals. If you get a chance to sit down and watch a Joyner Lucas visual, you will not be disappointed. There's not one you're going to be disappointed in. It's what he does, and he does a fantastic job with it. And this is just another one of them. But
He's a
more
special dude,
comedic.
man.
It's not serious at
Oh,
all.
good, good.
It's funny,
You know, I love that
comedic
kind of
Joyner,
stuff,
and
man.
I love that shit.
That's my
And
favorite Eminem.
yeah,
Even, you know,
exactly.
when he gets so goofy, man, it just tickles my
Yeah,
funny bone, man.
and it's one of his. And you didn't do ADHD, correct? The album, Joyner Lucas's album, ADHD. No, you did not. Okay,
no.
so this is a track off of that. This is not a new song.
Okay.
This is a track off of that album that had already came out. This is just the
Okay.
music video for that. It's called Zim Zima, and it's one of the club bangers on his album.
Right on.
Fantastic fucking song. So you guys have to check that out. And I think we're ready to get in some J. Cole off season.
Well, obviously, I did the reaction video to the album. I had an expectation going into it because I was one of those people that was hanging on and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And so many times when in a situation like that, there's this letdown.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there are people out there that waited longer than I did because I wasn't even aware of him even having an idea that an album was coming out until just probably 2.5, 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that have probably been waiting for 1.5, 2 years for this. So their expectation level is way greater than even mine. And I think that that's where some of the pushback on the album is coming from, because I am seeing pushback, but that's to be expected.
Yes.
When you're at the top of the mountain, people want to take a shot at you.
Mm-hmm.
J. Cole is at the top of the mountain, people.
Yeah.
That album was as I put it in the video, was a sonic marvel. First of all, his production skills are through the roof. There was a song called Close, and I remember when I was listening to it, there was some sampling going on in there where, and because I do this stuff for a living, you guys, I could tell exactly what it was he was doing. He was taking a sample, doing all of the effect that he was doing, either putting chorus on it and EQing it and adding some compression and reverb or delay in certain cases, and then mixing that and mastering that, sending it out, bringing it back in as it's fully mixed and mastered, and then remixed and mastered with all of that sampling together. You guys, it's, trust me when I tell you, this literally has to take months for him to take that approach to it.
Mm-hmm.
And he did that. So listening or reading comments about how somebody made the comment he phoned it in. What are you talking about? Do you know how much work went into that album? Phoned it in? Right there. Mm-hmm. Phoned it in. Listen, you can piss on shit all over it all you want, but phoned it in? Come on, man. That's just stupid. But My Life, Amari, 95 South. I even like 95 South. The Climb Back. I mean, obviously, I didn't mention my personal favorite one, which is Pride is the Devil. I really, really love that song, man.
Yeah, you can't pick a personal favorite really in this album. There's so many really
It's
good
tough,
ones.
man. Yeah,
It's tough. I don't have a favorite, but Amari is up there. Pride is the Devil. The Climb Back, I keep listening to that. I think I replay probably the Climb Back a lot more. Punching the Clock, I know, is just a singular long verse, but it's such a great little story, and he flows so well that I replay that bitch all the time too. Hunger on Hillside is probably one of the best ones too on there. I mean, I just named half the album.
Right.
And
there was no letdowns. There were 0 letdowns in this album.
All right. This is my negative thoughts. You ready? I'm going to get all my negative thoughts out on this album out right now. It's too short. 39 minutes. It's too short. It's too short. And I don't even mean track wise.
You see what's happening here though, everybody? Do you see what's happening? I mean, no, seriously, I guarantee you this is America right now, or the world really. You probably have people that say this is way too short. And then there are people out there like me that are like, that's perfect.
This is what I think. 12 tracks is fine. That's fine. But I wanted more in those tracks. Like I said, it's okay to have tracks that are sub 3 minutes, but 12 of them sub 3 minutes, it's hard. There's maybe a couple that were over 3 minutes, and most of them were very short with only, you know what I mean? To go through the whole album in 40 minutes after so long, I can see where that expectation bias really comes into play, but I'm not knocking the content in this album was top notch, and it's one of his best projects. It's up there with Forest Hill Drive with me already, and I've only listened to this 3 times. Same so here. I know that this is going to be
Forest Hill Drive.
Yes, I know this is probably going to be his best yet so far, but that's the negative. The negative is it's a little too short for me, and I probably could have done without. I probably could have done without 100 mil. Other than that, I'm good. Okay. I'm good. Everything was fantastic.
That's fair.
Everything was fantastic.
Yeah. And by the way, I said close. I meant the Climb Back. I apologize.
Oh, okay. That. Okay.
Yeah. But
which I didn't even think the Climb Back was going to be in this album because he had dropped it quite a little while ago. So to see that part of this album,
remember
too, was
what
cool.
Song that was.
Mm-hmm.
And then it hit me. So I'm like, oh shit, that's right. But at any rate, so for me, an LP is about the experience.
Mm-hmm.
When I walk away from it, did it make me, what kind of emotion did it evoke? And generally speaking, there's usually one emotion that something invokes. Now, granted, there could be all kinds of emotions wrapped up into that, but it usually either makes you very happy or very sad or frustrated, you know. Mm-hmm. But in this case, I couldn't wipe the smile off my face listening to it. But the storytelling by J. Cole is at a level that I think only a few other people can achieve. Mm-hmm. Kendrick Lamar is definitely.
I was just going to say K-Dot's the other one.
Yeah, but J. Cole, and this album in particular, was just phenomenal storytelling. My Life. I mean, come on, that.
Yeah, what a track. And to be honest, 21 Savage did his thing. He did his thing, man. I'm not a fan of 21 Savage.
I think I said that I said that in the video. Yeah, that was,
man, he killed it. He knew what was up. He knew what track he was on. He did his thing on that. I'll give it to him 100% on that. Mm-hmm. And you know, he said this in the documentary that he wants to, like maybe he might be ready to retire, but before he retires, he wants to do something, different and show that he's still tactical with it. You saw that throughout this album. Listen to Amari. You never heard J. Cole like that.
That's true.
Pride is the Devil. You never heard J. Cole like that. 95 South. That sounded, whenever he first started rapping, classic Cole, right? But then when he got deeper into it, before Lil Jon came on and started crushing shit, he was killing it with a different kind of flow. And that's what he's been doing. Applying Pressure was the perfect track to let people know this is how he's applying. He's not applying pressure on himself. He's applying it on his peers.
Right.
Step your game up,
and
because he's already up here.
That was
and he's still
definitely
showing,
a message that was
it was a message to all of his peers. Yes. There are levels to this. Get on mine. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's what that told me.
He was very matter of fact about that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And when you listen to tracks like Hunger on Hillside, a different Cole again. Mm-hmm. This short album gave you so many different flows and cadences that is not normally Cole's, and he did such a good job. Always beautiful writing, but he really hit it home with the production on this album. The production is fucking,
it was stupid,
beautiful. And you said something when I was listening to Dirty's reaction, because that was my first reaction too. I had just listened to the singles, and I wanted to wait until he did his reaction so I could listen to it for the first time too. And throughout that album, I kept thinking to myself, man, he is really in my ear. Like, he is really, really in my ear, and it sounds different. The mix that they did on this album was incredible.
Yeah.
He's so much in the forefront.
At first, and if you remember in the video, I pointed it out. At first, I wasn't 100% sold, because here's what DZAN's referring to. The vocals were pushed way forward. Yeah. Way forward. More than I think I've ever heard from a Cole album, mm-hmm. or a Cole song even. I think what he was doing, and this is what the conclusion I ended up coming to by the end. I think that what he was doing was he was saying, I'm not going to rely on the production of this album. Mm-hmm. I'm going to rely on my skills as a rapper. Yeah. I don't want people saying that this is a sonic marvel, mm-hmm. even though it was. Mm-hmm. I want them to walk away from this going, damn, Cole brought it. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that that's a conscientious decision that he made. But even now, still, I wished, if there was anything that I would have changed with the mixing aspect, is I probably would have pulled them back just ever so slightly. Mm-hmm. But that's it's throughout the whole project. You could tell it was done with a purpose. Yeah, no, it was done with clearly done like that. That's why I came to the conclusion that I did. Right. Because this wasn't an accident. They're pushed way out. And it's very sample heavy as well. So it's layered with a lot of sounds. And that's what I was talking about when I was talking about how he was doing it. It's very unique the way he did it. You can clearly tell that each sample was edited, mixed, and mastered separately before it was even brought into his project. Right. And that is, it's not uncommon, but it's a tremendous amount of work. Mm-hmm. Huge workload to do it that way. But it's one of those things that takes something from 99% to 100. Right. It's just that one little bit extra that he added to it. He left no stone unturned on this. Right. That's why when I see somebody make a comment like he phoned it in, I want to punch somebody like that in the face. Get out of here. Get out of here. Dude, what are you talking about, man? Yeah. There was a tremendous amount of work that went into this. Yeah. And you can tell, and no matter how short it was, you can tell that it was not lacking quality at all. Mm-mm. It was on there
100% of the time. It's a great album that you could listen to over and over, and that's probably what you should be expecting of this album. Don't be expecting anything more than that, because you should already know Cole's great. Don't, when we talk about the expectation bias, this is those people that have that are the same reason why the big rappers, this is why Eminem has to shadow drop every time now, because if he lets you know it's coming, you get all these ideas. Oh, he's going to feature with so-and-so. He's going to finally do a song with this. He's going to talk about this. This has been happening. And then your expectations get blown. Mm-hmm. He had a month build up to one of his albums, and it just, you know what I mean? The blowback, because it wasn't what they expected, because they get all these ideas. Cole gave them a week, and you thought that would be enough. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, everybody knew it was coming, but once he released that picture of the album cover, he released the interlude, everybody knew it's happening. Mm-hmm. It's happening. So you can never give them enough time. You know what I mean?
The documentary thing too. Yeah.
And the documentary, right. You can never give them enough time.
Which, by the way, shout out to DZAN for bringing that up, because I added that into the reaction video.
Oh, and I'm so glad you did, man, because it really worked out well, because you could tell why he made those decisions, right? Yeah. When you were listening to it, you could tell why he made those decisions based off the documentary. Really good. You still got to do that LA Leakers freestyle dirty, because it is dope.
And I also have to do the freestyle thing. So
yeah, and the Amari music video just dropped too this week, guys. So go check out the Amari music video.
Great song. If you haven't heard it, it's a great song.
I keep going back to that one. That one might just be my favorite. Is Amari. I don't know. I keep going between that one and
Pride is the Devil is the one I think.
Pride is the Devil.
Yeah, the reason I say is just because that's the one that's easiest for me right now to recall in my head, because it's so it's kind of addictive. Quite frankly.
It is. And then being destroyed. I love what he does in that song.
The way he does it. Yeah.
And same thing with Amari. The way he does the flow, it's addictive. Those addictive flows make you, it gives it the replay, those kind of things. It gives you the replay. So all in all, it gets 2 big thumbs up from both of us. Fantastic fucking Cole album. You cannot expect anything more than just a great fucking Cole album. And I like what they're doing. I hope this becomes a trend where the album covers are live. If you look at his album cover,
the smoke.
Live. The smoke. Yeah. Yes. And that's on everything. You go to wherever, Apple Music, Spotify, whatever. It's a moving. I really hope they keep that going. I hope that's new thing. And we can say J. Cole started that shit. Because I thought that's a beautiful touch. When you're looking at the album, it's really cool to look at.
Yeah, it gives you something to focus on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one last thing before we shoot out of here, guys. We pose a question to you. What is it that you want to see us do a top 10 on? Do you want us to do a top 10 favorite album? Do you want us to do a top 10 favorite song? Another genre, or sports related, UFC, whatever? Hit us in the comments. And we'll take a look at those. We'll scroll through them, and before we start our next podcast next week, we will do another top 10.
I think it's only right
what you guys want to see. So
I think it's only right that for the 10th episode we do another top 10. So Absolutely. I think we just got to figure out what top 10 we're going to be doing. So you guys let us know, and we'll be definitely doing that on the next one. I like that.
All right, guys.
All right, you guys have a great weekend. No, I do not. It is Friday. 21 Pilots dropping today. UFC tomorrow. Get fucking hype. Cody Garbrandt coming back.
No love.
See you guys next week. Peace out.